What's up, YouTube? It's Winfrey, and yes, this is the first video on my YouTube channel. As you can see, I'm on MUT, and I have 1.65 million coins, 91 overall team, 55 MUT level. I haven't grinded all my levels yet, but the purpose of this video is going to be an intro to my channel, but more specifically, it's going to be my team, who's on my team, why, but really most importantly, what I think will give people the most help is the abilities that I use on each side of the football in order to get the best performance out of my players. I know with bench press meta hopefully leaving, there's been a lot of changes and I've done a lot of experimenting, but this has been hands down the best thing I've used. Quickly, I'll just show you. In Weekend League, I finished my last 2 games this morning and I actually won 18 games. For me, that's really, really good, considering the fact that I haven't played Madden since Madden 17. This is the first Weekend League that I've played all 25 games, and I'm really happy with how I performed. And I did have like a 3-game losing streak or something like that in the middle, where I was completely tilted, trying to play man beaters and cover 3 beaters and stuff like that every single play, and I really screwed myself on those couple of wins. So I don't think I would have got top 100 just because I don't know if I'm that good yet. But hopefully in the future that will be something I'm able to do. But this is hands down the best abilities I would say to use for your team. But hopping into my lineup, as you can see, my top 3 players there. Gonna look at my offense first because this one's the most straightforward. If we go over here, you'll see I have lockdown on 45 out of 50, tier 9, and play fake on 40 out of 45. I want to get that to tier 9, but I'm just waiting on that. I'm not in a huge rush to do that. And as you can see, also I have the Falcons to tier 5, which gives +1 speed. I would love to have them 50 out of 50, but it would just cause me to take too many hits on my team, and I don't want to do that. And honestly, it's not a super huge deal for me right now. The reason I went with the Falcons is, 1, they're my favorite team in the league. And 2, they have a lot of different players at a lot of different positions that'll get really, really good cards throughout the year. Like Michael Vick, I plan on keeping him as my quarterback for literally the rest of the year. Todd Gurley might get a pretty good running back card, although not a ton of Atlanta running backs are super good. I know Warwick Dunn's in the game. I don't know if he'll get a 99 or anything like that though. But Julio will hands down get a 99 overall card. Tony Gonzalez will probably get a 99 overall card if I had to guess, but there's a lot of good Falcons players. And on the defense side of the ball, Deion Sanders, Deion Jones, stuff like that, that'll hopefully be good. But ultimately that +1, +2 speed isn't everything. As you can see, I don't have every Falcons player imaginable just because of that speed boost. It's definitely not everything, but for the sake of having my quarterback with it, at least one of my receivers with it, maybe 2 if Calvin Ridley or Roddy White gets a really good card, my tight end, and a few defensive players, I think it is worth it. So if you pick a team, fill out the backup positions with those players, and then hopefully as more players come out throughout the year, maybe a bunch of linemen, you'll be able to get that. And then also I have Brawler at tier 3. Use Brawler. Brawler is the best ability in the game, mainly because it gives you +2 speed just like Sprinter does. But it also gives you plus strength, which is good for your linemen. And I think the negatives of Brawler are less impactful than the negatives of Sprinter in the game. So that's all my stuff. The reason I use play fake instead of go deep, I have 2 players with deep route running already at 90. And as soon as more players come out, Julio gets a new card. All of them will be that. So I went with one that gives short route running and medium route running. And I have it up to tier 8, which is really nice for me. But as far as my team goes, I obviously have spent quite a bit of money on the game. I have Tony G at tight end. I did have Jimmy Graham at tight end, but I decided I was going with Falcon, so I decided to get him, and he has +2 speed now, so he performs really well. He's been performing really well for me. Mike Vick will be my quarterback the rest of the year. I'm loving Reggie Bush. If an Adrian Peterson at some point comes out, I might have to get him. I just gotta love Adrian Peterson, but I love having this receiving back out of the backfield with the abilities I'm able to get on him. And then I know Tyron Calico, Brandon Cooks are no-brainers, and I know Julio Jones is not the best receiver in the game to have. I did have Marvin Harrison. I had Reggie Wayne at one point. Marvin Harrison performed really well, but again, for the sake of the Falcons theme team, and I just love Julio, I really wanted to get this card and to use this card, especially since it got Redux, and it's actually been performing really well for me. He's had a few really big plays. He's not super speedy, but again, as he gets more cards, that'll change, and he actually does have +2 speed because he has the Falcons chemistry. Tyrone Calico's no-brainer. Brandon Cooks, again, is a no-brainer. Andre Johnson, I actually have him leveled up to all but the last one, and I have the Falcons chemistry on him, so that actually makes him a really good card. Probably a little better than Julio, but I just like playing Julio because it's Julio. In my O-line, as you can see, I have the new Kevin Maway, or however you say it, and I have pretty much the best O-lineman at every position. I know there's a right guard, a team diamond that might be a little better than Kevin Zeitler, but you know, he's a little more expensive, and I just figured I didn't really want to change it, and Kevin Zeitler hasn't done anything wrong for me. And then I have Joe Thomas here. I know that 50 player did just recently come out, but he's selling for like 350, 400K, and his power-ups for going for like 400K, which is absolutely ridiculous. So I want to get him, but I'm actually waiting on either a new way for power-ups to come out or this next weekend, so I could actually get enough 50 players to complete his set and just get his power-up that way. But so that's going to be the biggest change to my offense coming soon, will be that left tackle, and then whatever players drop this week that I want to pick up. And as far as my defense goes, this is where things get pretty crazy. This is where I'm pretty loaded. As you can see, I'll start with my defensive line because this is the most underwhelming part. Myles Garrett powered up, 91 overall. Merlin Olsen not powered up. Linval Joseph not powered up. There's no use. They don't see the field a ton for me. And then Reggie White powered up. Best defensive lineman in the game, hands down. You need to get this card if you have the coins. My linebackers, I have Lawrence Taylor here, Leroy Reynolds just for the Falcons chemistry, Junior Seau, Deion Jones, Falcons, and then TJ Watt here, and then Bobby Bell behind him just for the sake of some chemistry. And if I ever need a coverage backer on the field. Then my secondary, my DBs are where it gets really insane. So I have Brian Dawkins powered up, Micah Hyde fully powered up, Taylor Mays fully powered up, Jamal Adams fully powered up. Then I have Denzel Ward, Nnamdi Asomugha, Asante Samuel, Dion, and Aeneas Williams. And I run a nickel 3-3-5, and here's the setup for my defense. Lawrence Taylor is at one of my ends. TJ Watt is at the other end. Reggie White is my defensive tackle. Brian Dawkins is an outside linebacker playing in the zone. Micah Hyde and Jamal Adams are the other two linebackers. They're playing in man because they both meet the man threshold at the safety position. I have Taylor Mays at my free safety as my user. And then I have Denzel and Nnamdi on the outside, playing outside. And then I have Dion in the slot because Dion's speed is higher and he has lower press. So he'll be able to handle those short routes and stuff like that without getting beat on a ton of man beaters. Most man beaters are lined up on the outside, and if I get a good press, it actually negates those man beaters. And then I have Asante Samuel playing strong safety in a curl flat. So I have two curl flats. That my base defense is two curl flats, and then I have everybody else manned up, and I'm a user in Taylor Mays in the deep blue and just over the middle of the field, making sure nothing gets open. That's my defensive base setup, and again, you can run that defense all you want, but if you play someone who knows what they're doing, they will know how to break it down, and you have to know how to adjust. So just having a one-play defense isn't going to work for you, especially now that bench press is no longer going to be meta. So that's my base play I come out in most of the time. But I do know how to make adjustments, how to change things so that I'm able to adjust to how they're beating me, and make it a really fun, enjoyable game for both sides as we fight each other mentally and on the field. But anyways, going to my abilities, which are hopefully the reason you're here if you're still here. These abilities to me are hands down the best in the game. Maybe not for offense, but defense for sure. So just go ahead and hopping in. As you can see, 10 out of 10 ability points used. On Michael Vick, I have Roaming Deadeye and Quick Draw. In my opinion, Roaming Deadeye is the best quarterback ability in the game for a scrambler. Obviously, Dan Marino doesn't need it, but the reason is because, I don't know if it's intentional or if it's a glitch, but when you have Roaming Deadeye, if you sprint outside the pocket, if you let go of the sprint button, you can still be on the run, but it considers it a standing pass, and you get perfect pass accuracy and really good throw power on that. And then Quick Draw is just one. Once you use it, you'll never want to not use it just because of how good it is, and it helps throw out of sacks, helps under pressure animations and stuff like that. So that's just really beneficial. Game's actually glitching right now. Here we go. On my running back, Reggie Bush, I have backfield master, best running back ability for receiving back, more hot routes, and improved catching. That's a no-brainer. And then reach for it is 1 AP. I've seen people get some crazy stuff with this. This is pretty, I wouldn't even say it's very situational. It activates almost every game for some good purpose, and it's very, very good for 1 AP if you have the room for it. And then I have tight end apprentice on Tony Gonzalez, the most required ability in the game on the offensive side, especially in the bench press meta. Even if it gets phased out, there's so many good routes on this tight end apprentice. If you don't have hot route master Dan Marino, you definitely absolutely need tight end apprentice on your tight end. Julio, I have route technician just because he's playing in my slot, usually running short, medium routes, really good cuts, is able to beat man a lot of the time. And then edge protector are two extremely necessary things at this point in the game with most people running. Edge threat, if you don't have edge protector, you can only double team one side, and you're definitely going to get no time in the pocket whatsoever. A lot of people like escape artist for three ability points. It's honestly too much for me, but this is the way my offense looks. I really, really love it. There's nothing really I want to change. I did have Slot-O-Matic here until they increased it to 3 AP, and route technician. It was better than route technician, especially for a slot receiver, but for 1 AP, I'm gonna go to route technician and put that AP somewhere else. But those are my offensive abilities. You can take those or leave those. But for defense, there's tons of different routes you can go for defense. Tons of different things you can do. Put different abilities on different people, and I've tried out a lot of different things. When bench press was the meta, it was a no-brainer. You had to use bench press. As much as I hated it, if somebody was using it against you and you weren't using it, it was just game over. It was absolutely game over. So hopping into my abilities, this is the best thing that I've found. You might have found something you like more. This is the best thing that I've found, and I'll break it down. First of all, my X factors, I have 3 out of 3, and they're on all 3 of my cornerbacks who are playing man. And what I found is with this shutdown, when it's being used, it is dominant. It is absolutely dominant, and it's really, really good. 3 breakups most of the time. It activates on an interception or something, and it's really good just to have in your back pocket if an interception happens. But on my 2 people coming off the edge, I have an edge threat on both of them for 3 AP. And I was in the mindset of if it's 3 AP, they have edge protector as 1 AP. That's just a waste of 6 AP if I use that. But I've quickly found that edge protector actually happens successfully more, or edge threat happens successfully more than edge protector. So people can have edge protector all they want, especially if they try to roll out with a quarterback. I'm always getting sheds. And 2 edge threats, especially since the bench press meta is phasing out, are extremely important. I've had people multiple times run like a man beater play where it requires a lot of time for the route to develop, but because of my edge threats, it's made them throw under pressure and miss it, or throw out a sack or whatever, and I actually get picks and stuff like that. But these are 2 probably the most essential things in my opinion to have. And then I was running inside stuff on Reggie White. That's an extremely good thing to use if you struggle with a run. But for me, if you're playing against a good player and they know you have inside stuff, they'll just run read option or 0-1 trap and stuff like that, and it'll make your inside stuff pretty redundant. So I went away from that. And then I have bench press on Nnamdi Asomugha. And the reason I have it on him and on no one else is 1, because his press is highest, so he's more likely to get successful press attempts. And 2, because his speed is the lowest. Dion, I think, has 95 speed for me with his +2. Denzel has, I think, 94. And Nnamdi only has 91. So I use bench press on him because it's going to help negate the speed deficit that he might have at receiver, versus using on these other 2 who are pretty much most of the time already going to do really well against man. And the reason I have Nnamdi other than Byron is honestly I just feel like he plays better than Byron, better man, same press and same speed. So that's the reason I use Nnamdi, and that's the reason I use bench press on him. I'm considering changing bench press to 1 step ahead. I honestly don't know if they nerf the actual press ability because I haven't been getting it as much, but 1 step ahead is a really good card. Right now it's bench press, but I might change it to 1 step ahead in the future, but as of right now it's doing pretty well. And then on Taylor Mays, my user card, I have Acrobat. This is a pretty good ability for 1 AP. I know a lot of people use it on all of their corners. I personally don't, because for me it doesn't activate enough. I had it on my corners at one point. It activated one time over a span of like 5 games, and it was on all of my corners. So the only person I have it on is my user to get some diving swats, interceptions, and I've gotten some pretty cool animations and stuff like that with him. But those are my ability points: 2 edge threats for lots of pressure, a bench press for my corner with the lowest speed to help kind of negate any differences, and then acrobat on my user. So that's pretty much my team. Those are my abilities. As you can see, my team is really loaded. My secondary is pretty much the best in the game. Hopefully I'll get my level 60 soon, and I'll be able to sell Jamal and use the power up pass on him. This is over a lot of trial and error with a lot of different players, and this is what I found is best. And again, the reason I use Dion in the slot is because of a low press, and he's able to guard those crossers and slants and drags and stuff like that most of the time. But honestly, don't have any complaints out of my defense for the most part. Typically, even if somebody's running Vic or Lamar for the first few possessions of the game, I won't even put up a spy. I'll just have edge threat coming off the edge with the QB contain, and then Reggie White coming up the middle. And this Reggie White card has no abilities on him, but he gets just as many sacks as TJ and Lawrence Taylor. Part of that is because they're having to double team and focus on these two guys, and Reggie White's able to win his one-on-ones. But if they start scrambling really fast or able to hit the holes, then I'll have to put like Reggie in a spy, or I'll sub in Myles Garrett and put him in a spy since he's a little faster. But the only reason I actually have these linebackers right here and these defensive players, even though I don't use them, is because if they come out in I-form a ton, I need to come out in like a 4-3 even or something like that. I have good players that can manage, that can play well. But this is my team. As you can see, I have powered up Morton Anderson at kicker with focus kicker. I miss way too many field goals. I'm not very great at field goals. And then I actually have Taylor Mays at my third kick returner and my punt returner because it's a little cheesy. If I'm playing squads and I'm playing offense, then my friend who has a worse team than me can sub these people in at their defense, if you didn't know that. So that's really cool. And then this is just the stuff I have. It's self-explanatory. I have Dan Quinn so that he can get that Falcons chemistry. But other than that, that's my team. I know there's not a ton of room for upgrades. I know Julio could be a better receiver there, but again, I just want to use him. And then left tackle will probably be my very next upgrade as soon as his price isn't so ridiculous. But right now, I'm really loving my team. If you want any tips on team or scheme or anything like that, I run a trips tight end out of the Chargers playbook, and then I run nickel 3-5 out of the Chiefs. I can bring out some tip videos, but I know this is my first video. It might not get many views, but I just wanted to give you some insight on the abilities that I use personally, and what I think works really well in this game. Obviously for my team. Obviously, if you have a much weaker team, you're not going to be able to run nickel 3-5 man because your players will just get burnt, and you might need to put different abilities elsewhere. But if you have a good team, if you are running man, if you are running nickel, I think edge threats are no-brainers if you can afford them for your team. But yeah, that's going to be it for the video. If you did like, comment, subscribe, I'll come out with pack openings, I'll come out with gameplays, tips, might review some lineups, might do some giveaways or something like that in the future. I have a little bit of time on my hands considering my work schedule is a little weird, and my wife and other people in my life are working while I'm not, so I figured I'd try to make some use of my time. But hopefully this video wasn't too long. Hopefully you enjoyed, and give me some tips or anything like that if you want to. But I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.